Okay. So today we will be gonna talk about F5 module, that is DNS. This module is a separate module altogether. Like we can have LTM, we can have GTM, we can have ASM, we can have APM, we can have AFM, ARM, and lot of other modules. So what is this? There is a company, there is an organization named as F5 Networks. This organization create a product named as Big IP product, Big IP product suite family. Okay. Out of which these are the modules which are working in the organization on the top. If you see LTM, LTM is local traffic manager, which is also getting known by the name of ADC, application delivery controller. And people in the market used to say that it is a load balancer. Okay. So when we say that, what is load balancer of F5? So we are just talking about the LTM module. It is way beyond more than the load balancer. But yes, it is a common term in the industry that people used to know about it. Second module for which we are here today is named as GTM. This module legacy name was GTM. New name is DNS. DNS stands for Domain Name System. This module from F5 is providing the intelligent resolution across the data center. Okay. Third module, whatever you are able to see here, is ASM. Again, the previous name, newer name is Advanced Web. This is Web Application Firewall. It means it is a layer 7 firewall which inspect all the vulnerabilities either on the parameter level, either on the file type, either on the URL level, either any of the brute force attack, DOS attack, bot defense, or whatever attacks we are having in the layer 7. If we talk about OWASP top 10, okay, all those vulnerabilities are getting corrected over here. It can protect your application from the layer 7 attack. Similarly, we have the APM, policy manager, firewall manager, and the routing module also. Okay. But as I told you, today we would be going to talk about the module named as DNS. Although these are the separate modules which you can learn from us. Okay. Later on, every module is having their own theory, their own practical, their own lab. But currently, we would be going to focus on DNS. In case if you have any questions for this slide, you may ask, otherwise maybe we can proceed. Please put over the chat if you cannot unmute yourself. Okay. I need to check the settings. So DNS, as I told you, DNS stands for Domain Name System. And everybody knows the work of DNS is what? It maps host name to the IP address. Just an example, if you are using abc.com, when you are opening it, in the background, there is a whole series of process. I would be going to talk about that in a moment. But abc.com will get resolved to some of the IP, maybe some hypothetical IP I am taking here, like 1.1.1.2. And your computer can talk with abc.com application over the cloud, or maybe there can be n number of other components which are coming in between. Okay. But what are those components? I would be going to explain you in a moment. Okay. What are the, maybe I would say, what are the main components? Okay. Not all components, probably what are the main components? I would be going to explain about them. So this whole thing, the components which I am talking about, we can say that this is nothing but this is DNS query process. When a client is trying to connect with the remote system, okay, it will go through a FQDN, fully qualified domain name. As an example, www.netminion.net. This is an FQDN. Okay. So if a PC wanted to interact with it, or we have a question, a very common question in the industry, maybe Rakhi, you are 20-year-olds. I hope somebody must have asked you like how Google works. When you open Google, how it works. So this is the DNS query process at all in the background, which we need to talk about in very first place. Like whenever client put the FQDN, www.netminion.net in as an example, there is a whole series like how DNS query process will work. And about that series, we need to talk about like what are those steps, how it will work in the background. Okay. Like very first, when client will come, it will check with its local cache, that either I have the entry for www.netminion.net. If there is an entry, this client will get IP and this client will interact with that application on whatever application it is hosted on. In case there is no entry in the local cache, the next point would be your LDNS, which is named as local DNS. So it will talk about that, hey, local DNS, there is a request to www.netminion.net. Can you provide me like what is the IP for it? If it is able to give the IP, then it is fine. Even if it is not able to give the IP, then these recursive query will go and there would be more iterative query towards something named as root server. Root server is nothing. It is bit like a root name server is bit like your .com. So this query will start from here. Okay. So if you see, I'm sorry, give me a minute, not .com. So root server. Root server is like how this dot, there is a dot in the very last, which is invisible, but it is representing the root server. So query will go to the root server. Root server will send it to the .NET server. In our case, it can be .com server. It can be .org server. It can be any domain name. Then this .com server will check that, or .NET server will check that, okay, you need to go to the NetMinion, go to the NetMinion data center, or maybe where they are pointing the DNS. And this guy will provide the IP, and same IP will be provided to the client, and client will take this IP through the routing, will reach to the destination. So this is the whole process. Okay, maybe let me create it in a neatly way. There is little bit. So this is my PC. This PC interacting with your LDNS. So this is PC. First of all, PC will go and access some FQDN. Okay, it can be anything like abc.com. If it is not able to resolve it, this first request is not resolved through the local cache, it will go to the LDNS. LDNS will check that, okay, it's not, the entry is not to me as well. It will send to the root server. This would be your third. Root server will say that, oh man, I also don't know, because it is .com. I will be taking you to the .com. It will send an reply that go to the .com, and this is the .com IP, and it will go to the .com server. So the request number 4 and request number 5. .com will say that, okay, yes, I have some entry for it. You need to go to such and such device. Probably it is also giving some of the IP address. Okay. And then LDNS will reach to the abc.com DNS. DNS for abc.com. It will give you the reply, and the same reply will be given back to the client. So it would be 6th, it would be 7th, it would be the 8th, it would be the 9th. And at the 10th position, your client will interact with the application. Is it fine? Any doubt to anybody in this? Okay. Am I audible? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Thank you. Maybe they are not able to unmute themselves. Okay. Please, you can unmute yourself now. Can somebody check? Raki, maybe can you just unmute and see?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah, so I just like to add, and maybe you can correct me, right? So all this pre-setting has been done, right, before implementation of such a application and the IP and domain name resolution, right? Like what sir have explained now, it is the which application already in setup, right?
Already in
Before,
setup.
yeah,
That
yeah.
is
So
correct.
before going anything, right, there is a pre-work which all teams together work together and do this, and then only as an end user or customer or whatever we call it, then we this is what the flow. But when
For
initially we have to add it, right, what normally do, like I am an application owner, right, and network team has given me IP address. Like I said, okay, I have a 4 application. The 4 application need 4 different public IPs or internal IP2s, right? Because in our LAN, then it get to NATed, right? So they will get you that 4 IPs, and this is what your domain will be look like, and that setup we will add in our DNS servers, right? So that anything coming from inside or outside, right, both way, they should get resolved to that. And why the DNS is like, it is very complicated to remember, right, the IP address. So in order to simplify the network environment, user and everything, this is what the technology is, right? I mean, to convert that domain into IP and IPs to a domain. Because remembering that IP address for, more than crores and millions is not possible at all, right?
yes.
This is the main job of that DNS, right, which do that. And
Yes.
each organization, right, they will have a local DNS, they will have a DNS put up at the public environment and things like that, right? So
Yes.
so that it routing should be easy, as you all of are aware, right, what is that routing. So main job of DNS is to do that IP to this conversion, and if no DNS is getting, right, they will say, okay, not found or something like that. But logically and the by default, each IP and each DNS resolution should be there. If that resolution is not happening at the users and all, they will say, okay, application is not working, right? They cannot browse it or open it if that entries are not there. So that even some kind of problem comes, right, on our day-to-day basis. So this is
That
what
is correct.
the things.
That is correct.
Thank
That
you.
is correct. Yeah. So now let me come to that point and explain more a little bit about it, because you guys wanted to know maybe regarding the same. So what happened is, let us say you don't have any application. Okay. You are building an application server. So this is one of the application server what you build. Now, anybody from the outside, if this application is internet facing, but obvious, which should be in the maximum cases, client will go to the internet. In turn, there would be some routing, there should be some firewall. Okay, maybe there is firewall, and post that there is application server. So this is my client. Client is coming through the cloud, internet, or any way. Okay, SD-WAN or whatever way it is. It is going to the iNet router. From the iNet router, there is some firewall to check the basic things, or if there is WAF, that is good. There is a WAF layer also, there can be. And post that, client will able to hit the application. This is the flow. But when you have more than one server, which will be in maximum cases because redundancy is required, what you do in the same topology, you just add one more thing named as LTM, okay, or the load balancer, you can say LTM. What LTM will do? LTM will load balance between your application servers. How many servers you have, it will load balance among them. Okay, rest of the thing is same. So what LTM is doing? LTM job is if any of the traffic is coming, it will check either my next hop or maybe the application server is up or no. If it is up, what is the traffic count over there? Let us say the traffic count on this. I'm just giving some hypothetical values. Here it is 100. Here it is 500. So what LTM will do to load the load the balance, to balance the load among them, it will send more requests on the low exhausting server. And let us say at some point of time, the request here is now 200 and here is 150. I'm just again taking some hypothetical situations. So in that case, now traffic will go more over here, lesser over here. So its job is what? That both of the servers utilization should be same. That is its job. Also, it will check either my backends are up or no. Those things are used by health monitors. Okay. F5 LTM will does that job very efficiently. But question. This is the scenario where I am talking about the single DC. What if we have more than 2 DC or more than 1 DC, I will say? How the traffic should flow? Who will take the decision? Getting my point? In that scenario, F5 DNS part will come into the picture. So earlier I was showing you the basic DNS functionality. Now let me explain like where this DNS part comes. Okay. So again, I am talking that there are a lot of clients. There are series of clients. These clients will interact with LDNS. Okay, I am just picking up an application, maybe abc.com again. So they wanted to interact with abc.com. They are going to the LDNS and LDNS again sending the query that, okay, I don't have the information. It will go to the root.com, blah, 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 whole series. After that, where it will go? After that, it will go to the DNS of the local site or the application. So let us say there is an application. Okay, there are LTMs there. Okay, LTM there, and after the LTM, there are application servers. I'm taking a single DC this time. Okay, I will gonna explain about these requests in a more iterative way. But yeah, for the time being, let us take it is a single DC. So this is how your request will go to the data center, and in this data center, one of the LTM whosoever is acting as the primary or active unit, okay, that virtual server IP will be provided to the client if it is a public thing. If it is not public thing, again, whatever the firewall and whatever the netting stuff is there, that we need to take care in the mind. Okay, so those IP will get provided, which is publicly exposed, but obvious. Okay, not the private IP. So that way, such traffic will take place. Any doubt within this picture? Maybe I will say it is scenario 1. In scenario 1, is there any doubt, any question? Sure. I am taking your silence as no. Now let's move to the scenario number 2. What happened is now we have one more DC. Again, in this DC, we have some LTMs. Again, over here, the same application is working, same application. Okay, bit like maybe DC-DR scenario. It can be DC-DC scenario. Let us say this is for the APAC region, this is for the EMEA region, or maybe there can be some more DC for the US region and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, when you have a DNS, let us say you are hosting your DNS service over the internet. You just taking some service from the internet service provider, and you have two DC. Okay. And this service provider is not providing you the intelligent resolution. What it will do, it will make the round robin thing. So one client which is coming from the EMEA can go to the APAC, okay, because it is a round robin, not the intelligence resolution. One who is coming from the APAC can go to the EMEA. See, this is really a nuisance, right? Ideally, what should happen? The request which is the closest to the data center, it should go there, right? But in case of simple DNS, it is not able to track what is the data center, where it is located geographically, and such thing sometimes is named as anycast routing also. So anycast routing is not aware about. Now let me make some another scenario. Okay, I'm trying to explain the same thing again. Let us say this is data center 1, and there is a DNS. DNS means F5 now I am talking about. And here we have LTM. Let us say we have 2 LTM, okay, and the same application here also, because it is in the high availability mode, so both should be working as same. Let us make one more data center similarly. Here also we can place 2 LTMs, LTM, LTM. This is also LTM, this is also LTM. And in the beneath, there are some application servers, which are working like this, and these things also in the high availability mode, and on the top of which we are building up the DNS. Now this DNS is F5 DNS. We are talking about the F5 DNS over here, okay, because we need to talk about the F5 DNS only. So we are just talking about the F5 DNS. There is a term named as listener, which we need to create over here, listeners. Okay, and any query will come to the listener only in case of F5 DNS. So just FYI, Rakhi, for any of the new site when we are building it up, okay, we need to put this listener IP against our domain. Let us say if we are hosting a domain like netminion.net, so we will register with our registrar, or maybe you can say ISP, these listener IPs. Let us say the listener IP is 1.1.1 and 1.1.1.2 respectively. So over the internet, these IPs will get exposed. Are you getting my point? Okay, so this would be get registered over the registrar, or maybe you can say over the ISP, and .NET server will come to know about it. Similarly, root server will come to know about it. Similarly, this query can go to the LDNS. Similarly, these queries will go to the clients in the end. Now, when some traffic is coming from the client, okay, client is coming with some of the traffic, it will go to the again LDNS, blah, 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 all of the thing. This query eventually will reach to the DNS. These DNS, these F5 DNS will be in the sync group. Okay, they will be in the sync. Here it is not active standby scenario, it is active maximum cases. Okay, it would be active scenario only. So they will able to sync among them all the information in advance that I will gonna talk about maybe later on, like how to make this, what should be not done, because here also there is a catch. If one new device is coming in, and by mistake somebody is, because there is a script which need to run among them to make them in the pair. So if somebody is doing something wrong, whole the configuration can wipe out from your box. Okay, there are a lot of precautions or these kind of cautions we need to take care, but that we would be going to talk about later on in the classes. What I mean, just try to understand that when traffic is coming, these devices are synced. Okay, F5 DNS will give the IP which is the closest to the client. It means if client is coming from EMEA, and let us say this is the EMEA, this is the APAC. Okay, this is the EMEA, this is the APAC. What happen is, let us say the IP on the LTM here is 10.1.1.1. Let us say, just I am giving some examples. Here the IP is maybe 20. Let us take 20 or 10.20, 10.20.1.1. Okay, the virtual server, because these are in the sync, the IP would be same for the virtual server. Here also the IP would be same, 10.1.1.1. So F5 DNS has a concept as the server. So in the server, they are having the pool, and in the pool they would be having the server. The server will be containing this IP and this IP respectively in a pool. So they will be as a pool member in the F5 DNS. So F5 DNS will send closest to the client. Are you getting this point? And this term is very broadly named as GSLB, Global Server Load Balancing. So it is not server load balancing, unlike your LTM device, that you are not doing it on the within the data center, but you are doing it globally. Make sense? Yes, no, everybody? Abhinav is saying thank you. MIH, can you unmute yourself? Revs, okay, no doubt. Sure. Rakhi, MIH, Sham, any other doubt to anybody?
Yeah, it's a good, sir.
Okay. So that is how your GSLB solution would be get in place. Not only this, there are a lot of things which work in the background. Like I was saying you, these F5 LTM and GTM device will interact with each other. So when they are interacting with each other, there is something named as sync group, and they need to be gone through those sync group configuration. Okay, so the thing what I was explaining about you, that sync group should be same, the name should be same among them. Okay, and there is some kind of script which we need to add, and those scripts would be very importantly that should be added on the new device, not on the old device. Otherwise whole configuration will be get wiped out, but that is a different story. What I am trying to explain you is, in between LTM and in between GTM, there is some proprietary protocol, that is F5 proprietary protocol, named as iQuery. So there is an iQuery which will work among them. Either it is a GTM device, GTM device, either it is GTM or LTM device. There is iQuery which used to work among them. Okay, it work on the transport layer, maybe if I'm not wrong, the TCP 4353 port and the 22 port also. Okay, and it will exchange the cert among them for the authentication. It will exchange the configuration automatically. All the VIPs what you are created over here, it will be gonna show on the GTM. How? Using these kind of proprietary protocols. So over the GTM, when you are creating a GTM, this is old name again, the new name is DNS. Okay, but I am just taking the old name so that you people will not get confused. So whenever you are using the GTM or DNS, you need to create something like what are the data centers. Within the data center, what are the servers? Here the servers are nothing but the virtual servers IP of the LTM. So you are adding the LTM devices only. So what I mean to say is, like if there is an APAC, there is EMEA, there is a USA, and there is single DNS, let us say. Okay, there is a single DNS. So whatever LTM device here and whatever virtual server created over here, these are your LTM in the sync. And these are your virtual server 1, virtual server 2, and blah, blah, blah. Here also, this is APAC region. This is EMEA region. This is USA region, okay, or US region. So here also some LTM, some virtual servers, here also some LTMs and some virtual servers. So all those virtual servers will be added on the data, your DNS within that data center. Now, your DNS is able to track either these are up or down. It would be able to understand what is the data center, which data center it is. So it will make a GSLB, global server load balancing solution. This will provide you the answer of the query, which is closest to the source. Because same application is running here, same application running here, same application running here. And for the load balancing, your DNS is working as a, like it is playing a main role. Not only this, if we talk about the security, if we talk about the efficiency, if we talk about number of resolutions per second, it is unbeatable product. It is one of the really very good product which work very efficiently in case of your DNS solution as well. Okay, so when we will do this this whole thing, let me open the lab to you guys. So we will be gonna work on this lab. Okay, here you can see over the lab we have some of the Linux servers. Okay, so what we will be gonna do, we will create the local zone here. So they will act as the DNS servers earlier. Okay, not the F5. So they will act at the DNS. Then we will see that what are the problems that are coming, and then we will do something named as zone transfer. So we will transfer the zone from the LDNS to the big IP. And here you can see there are two big IP, which would be into the sync only group later on. And these are your LTMs, how the VIPs are getting, listened on your GTM, that we will listen. We will watch out. And later on, these Linux server will be acting as the application server, app server. Here also, app server. End to end, there is a connectivity through this router. We have the internet connectivity so that our licensing part and every part can be checked. This is workstation, which is working as the console for these devices. In addition to that, it will act as a user. So whole the lab for this DNS solution would be get completed by this topology. Very easy to use. Just right click and start it, and it would get boot up. Like right click, start, and double click. Okay, let me double click. Okay, so here you go. This device will get boot up. So you can see this application server is booting. This lab is complimentary. Who is joining the class for them? Okay, and everyone has their own port. So it means if Raki is doing something, Ravs cannot interrupt in her lab. If Ravs is doing something, Sham cannot interrupt in his lab. So it is individual port. Nobody can interrupt another one. And 24/7 available. So whatever you are doing, you can do by your own as per your time. So within this program, you will get the online training plus complimentary lab. Second, whatever we are teaching, all the videos will get recorded and you will get it through the video portal or maybe through the app. Course completion certificate and all of these things you will receive for sure. Okay. These batches are starting from the next weekend. If I'm not wrong, please cross check with Zoya also. And Saturday and Sunday are the 2 days which it would be like we will take this up for 2 hours each day. It means 4 hours per weekend, approximately 4 to 5 weekend, or maybe you can say 1 month or 1.5 month approximately. It will be get completed one technology. So that is what from my side. If you have any questions, anybody, please ask. House is open for the questions.
No, what about other modules? I mean, like firewall and something like that.
Every module we cover. If you wanted to see like what we cover, probably you may please visit to the netminion.net.
No, what I'm saying, you have physical presence somewhere in Pune?
Not in Pune. We are Delhi based and we used to provide this online, and not from the India, but outside of the India, people are getting benefited from this training. Okay, so they are receiving everything what is the physical class providing. I hope the time is changing now. So that is what. So yes, you can go through like our website. We do teach CCI security, CCI enterprise, a lot of other modules. If you wanted to see some free of the videos, you please go to the YouTube and search for the NetMinion solutions. You will get a lot of videos from our like whatever classes we have take so far. So you can just go through it. Maybe these are beneficial for you all. There are a lot of good videos as well, which will help you in your environment.